We get it. We come in. We'll continue the conversation. This one, I won't throw nobody off.
Hey, Omar, my fault, man. I'm still driving too, man. I'm trying to get to a location. I'm trying to get home,
okay.
man. I'll stay a little later than I expected in my office, man. So I'll be driving. So, okay.
That's how it is sometimes. Work overtime.
And I ain't gonna be with you too long tonight. I'm actually at the hospital with my aunt. You know what I mean?
Okay. Just let us know when you got rock.
What's up, Sharif?
What up, Duff?
Man.
All right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the special edition of Showtime TV. This is episode 4 of a conversation with men in color. As you already see, we already started the conversation a little bit. But my special guest for this evening is Wes Southall, Naybu Fullman, Duffy Hope, and Sharif Green. Gentlemen, good evening, and thank you for being a guest on the show.
Good evening. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Okay. Let's start off with Wes, Naybu, Sharif, and Duffy. If you guys could just give a brief introduction of who you are, like what's your educational background, your work background, and if you have any family.
Okay.
Let's start off with Wes.
Okay. My name is Wes Southall, Chief Administrator for Department of Health and Social Service Division of Social Services. There are 2 teams that fall under me currently. That's called the CPSU team, and stand by me for DSS for the state of Delaware. Did my undergraduate work at Temple University, did work at Emory College. I worked for UPS for approximately 38 years. I retired as Vice President of Logistics 5 years ago. I'm a native Philadelphian, came back to this area, settled in Delaware, and have been involved with the Division of Social Services since. And just really trying to make, as everyone else on this call, really trying to make an impact in the communities that we all grew out of, and try to give them the same resources and opportunities that the folks deserve, and just watch how they wow us when they get those opportunities.
Okay, great. Naybu.
Cool. Naybu Fullman. I'm originally from Wilmington, Delaware. I currently live in San Antonio, Texas, where I am the Performance Director for Air Force Entertainment. I have my undergrad at Clayton State University in Morrow, Georgia. Have a Master of Entertainment Business at Full Sail University, and I'm currently working on my MBA with Webster University. Currently, I live down here in San Antonio. I have 2 sons, granddaughter, grandson. What else you need to know, Omar?
Oh, that's good. That's good.
That's my good. Okay.
That's good. All right, Sharif Green, you got it, man.
So Sharif Green of Wilmington, Delaware. I have 2 daughters, 14 and 8. Got my undergraduate at Delaware State University, my master's at Springfield College, CEO of Father's Defense, founded in November 2009. Yeah, that's about it. Pleasure to be here.
Okay, all right, Duffy.
My name is Duffy Samuels. I'm the founder of Duffy's Hope. I graduated from Old Dominion University. I'm not as smart as the other gentlemen. I don't have a master's. I just have a Bachelor of Science in Human Services and Counseling. But I enjoy what I do. I work with a lot of young people throughout the state of Delaware. And, we've been around since, we've been incorporated since 2002, but we've been around since 1998. A lot of people know us from our celebrity event or our basketball league, but it's more to Duffy Hope than that. We save a lot of souls. Young people, we got them out of gangs, got them out of unfortunate situations. We help them, grow from not going to school to actually graduating high school and now in college. So, thanks, Omar, for having me on, and I appreciate, all you do in the community.
Oh, thanks. That's awesome. All you gentlemen, I believe, at least I know 3 of you grew up in the inner city. Naybu, you grew up in Riverside. Sharif, you grew up in Southbridge. East, you grew up in East Side. West, you're from Philadelphia. And I remember growing up, man, I'm be honest, growing up in the inner city, I never thought about going to college. I thought about me after I finished, when I was in high school, when I finished high school, I just thought about working. I didn't think about college. I didn't think I was smart enough, because if you think about it, majority of the white students and the Asian students were in college prep and honor classes, and the majority of the African Americans were maybe in general education classes, or basic education classes. So you gentlemen growing up in the inner city, when you were growing up as children, did you ever think that you were going to go to college? And then at what point did you decide to go to college? Let's start off with Duffy.
Well, for me, no, I never even thought about college, man. I was struggling so much in school, man. I was just happy if I can graduate high school, man. But once I started, getting involved in sports with Coach Leo with the Salvation Army, man, and he pushed me and showed me a different light, and then I got in touch with Judge Farnan, man, and he started a little travel basketball team for us, man. And then from there, man, I just decided to buckle down and do my work. But I was so far behind that when it was my senior year, I couldn't even get no offers anywhere because my grade point average was so low, and I didn't pass the SAT, so I had to go to a junior college first. And I went to Hagerstown Junior College for 2 years, and from there, man, I got a full ride to ODU, man, and started my basketball career, man. And that, basketball is my ticket out of Wilmington, man. It helped me get an education, helped me travel the world, see a lot of things, man. So without sports, I probably wouldn't have been into. I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. So when you say think about graduating, nah, man, I ain't thinking about graduating. I was just lucky if I even got to out of high school, man. But making my mom proud by graduating high school and then graduating college, man, that was just a blessing. I just love to see the smile on my mom's face, man.
And you were an all-state basketball player. You were at Glasgow, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, that's good. Okay, Sharif.
Well, living in Southbridge, and like seeing who I grew up around, like people, like I just wasn't like them. My mom, we always had, I never had to worry about the lights being off. I never had to worry about food being on the table.
Right.
So I appreciated that, and I figured that, since I was always awarded the opportunity to be a child, why not take advantage of the things that the quote unquote like normal Americans take advantage of. So I just figured it coming. And then one day, this brother named Bernard Jenkins, member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, he said to me, what college you going to? And I'm like, I don't know, I'm just going. So he was like, listen, go to Dell State. I'm gonna handle your application process and all of that for you. And when you go there, I want you to look out for the bruhs. So that's exactly what I did. I ended up getting accepted into Dell State. He waived all of that application stuff for me. Wrote my little essay, put out the application to go in. He waived all the fees for me. And next thing you know, I was at Dell State. And once I got there, I was like, I was on a mission to prove that I belonged there. So on the dean's list, every semester graduated on the president's list, then grad school from there. So I went because I could. My mom didn't rush my life at all. I was allowed to be a child for as long as I could. I have no pressure to get out the house. You know what I mean? As long as I was doing good and in school, you know what I mean? I was taken care of.
Right. It was such an honor, when you and I, like I said, we got our masters together from Springfield. That was really that's truly an honor. Naybu, you next.
Man, I tell you, man, when I graduated high school, man, I was just trying to get out. I wasn't thinking about college. You know what I mean? My thing, I used to hang with one of my boys, man, and he wanted to go to college, and I was like, man, I'm getting a job. I'm going in the Air Force. I'm out. I signed up for the Air Force when I was a junior in high school. You know what I mean? Because I knew I didn't want to go to college. I didn't want to do the work in high school, so I didn't really want, why was I going to waste somebody's money? But I spent my time in the Air Force, man, and I didn't go to college until I was grown and had a family. Man, I was 36 when I decided to finally go get that degree. I remember when I first got out the Air Force, I was 24, and my supervisor at the time, he said, "Hey, man," he's like, "what you going to do? Like, you ain't got your degree to finish." I think I took like 3 classes. You know what I mean? So he was like, what you going to do? I was like, "Hey, man, if I got to work at Burger King, I'm gonna make it." You know what I mean? Right. Like I said, 36, man, enrolled at Clayton State. The rest is history.
It's never too late.
It's never too late, man. Never too late.
Yeah.
I'm 50, man, and I'm just about to finish my MBA.
That's great. You know That's great. Mr. Wes Southall, Philadelphia Temple University.
Right. Hey, my intent wasn't to go to college. I grew up in North Philly. I was getting tired of getting bussed out of North Philly to all the schools in what would be called Philadelphia's Greater Northeast. So
Mhm.
once I graduated high school, I mean, I was small. I was small coming out of high school. I was 5'6", 105 pounds. So that being the case, my sport of choice to that point was gymnastics. So coming out of high school, I was the #1 gymnast in the state of Pennsylvania, #1 gymnast in Philadelphia. So I was highly recruited. However, I went down Richmond, Virginia to hang with my grandparents. Like, all right, I'm out of high school. That's it. That's nothing. And my grandmother had spoke to me maybe like in August. I think I was working on my grandfather's farm or something. It's like, well, your mom wants you to come back home. Like, what? It's like, you got to go to Temple. I'm like, I didn't register for no Temple University. Next thing you know, I was on the bus, was back home, was at Temple University, went there my sophomore year, started working at UPS. So my intent was never to go to college. I just knew I had to come out of North Philly because it's just your life expectancy in North Philly. You made it past 40, you was doing something. So I knew I had to come out of it. I didn't know what that was. I just know I didn't want to be broke. I didn't want to live in North anymore. And I was trying to figure it out. And by a lot of strong support, getting undergrad. And one thing I'd be remiss to say when folks start off talking about yourself, I was remiss to say that I didn't say, I've been married 30 years to the same woman, best thing I ever did in my life, 2 children, one graduated from Penn State. Back in December, a neuropsychology major. My daughter graduated from UD and she's at Yale Law School now. So obviously my wife is smart. So that being said, finished Temple, lucked up, got a job at UPS, stayed there 38 years and just was afforded an opportunity to get out of the inner city, get an education. So in my mind, college, maybe my mom knew it the whole time. That's where I was going. And then it just positioned me to have so many other opportunities. And unlike the young brother down here, it's a different fraternity. Right year, wrong gate.
Speaking of fraternity, Sharif and Wes, you're both from fraternities. Since you joined the fraternities, has that made either one of you a better man? You would say that has that made you more disciplined, more humble, more spiritual? Let's go with Sharif and then Wes.
Omar, don't leave me out, brother. Don't
Oh,
leave
you
me
want?
out.
He's showing his
Okay.
too. He's in.
Okay, my fault.
Don't leave me out, brother.
Okay, my fault. I was thinking about the Air Force. I totally forgot. All right, so we don't give it to you. Hey, definitely about you, man. You too. I won't forget nobody.
Yeah, hoop
He's
by
in
hoop.
basketball with his, right?
Okay, all right.
That's it.
Okay. So Sharif, Wes, and then Naybu. Go ahead, Sharif.
Okay. So how can I say this? Through the hardest times in my life, I always go back to my pledge process.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if I can survive that, then I can survive this. That it taught me perseverance, taught me patience. It's something that I would never do again. like if I had, if no one I'm not doing that, you know what I mean? But like, it's something that right now I don't regret. It's been one of the most beneficial things in my life. I got lifelong friendships from it. Lifelong connections. Never needed a job. Never needed a call. Anything like that is like at the snap of a finger. So yeah.
Okay, Wes.
I would say, as far as fraternity, as far as Pledge and Kappa Alpha Psi is concerned, I think with many undergrads and graduate students, all the stats show that the young African-American men and obviously African-American females who join or pledge these different sororities have a greater chance of matriculating and graduating just because of the nurturing, the camaraderie, and the support you get from folks with like minds. I think pledging any fraternity in today's world gives you the opportunity to impact more than your immediate surroundings. I mean, one person can do some things, but you take a group of determined individuals, they can do anything. And the impact of the African American or the Divine Nine, as we refer to ourselves now, in this country is tremendous, and the support is tremendous. And when you see these panelitic events where all the fraternities get together and all the sororities get together, and they really just fellowship and just support each other. And I think, obviously we originally most of us had to join African American fraternities because our forebears, our grandparents, and our great uncles and all and great aunts couldn't join the established white fraternities and sororities. And this was another outlet, another support for us. So as far as making me a better person, I think it helped me delve more into the person that I am. similar to what Brother Sharif said, you learn discipline. You learn you can't do everything by yourself. You learn to work in a group. It is very humbling. You know you can quit at any time, but you know you want to stay and see this thing all the way through. And it's rewarding. So it's been a tremendous opportunity for me.
Definitely, definitely. Naybu?
Definitely. I can echo pretty much what Sharif and Wes said, man. It was the greatest decision I ever made. One, it's a decision I always knew I wanted to pursue. Even at when I was coming out of high school, although I didn't want to go to college, I always it's crazy, man. I knew I wanted to be a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, but so I knew that I needed kind of to get to college to do that, But it has been one of the most enlightening experiences of my life. I have brothers everywhere. I was in London for my birthday this past January, and I connected with a brother over there. We weren't able to meet up. We were in Brixton at the same time, and literally did that. But to be able to go, anywhere in the world and to have a brother there that you can call and somebody that you've never met and you still have a connection with is amazing, man. And then, to couple with these brothers, man, and do stuff in the community for, we all pretty much have the same, our missions and our models are different, but we all kind of have the same pursuit, and that's to uplift young Black people, young Black men, particularly for fraternities, young Black women for sororities in the community, man. And that's what it's about, man. Because if you and I, Omar, didn't have somebody, I look at like your uncles, who are guys that I looked up to when I was coming up, if we didn't have people to do that, man, where would we be? You know what I mean?
Right. Definitely, definitely. Duff, one of the things that I admire so much about you, Duff, is that you have a lot of connections, as we stated before the show, with a lot of entertainers, and you could have been living in California somewhere, New York somewhere, Philly somewhere, being a manager, being an entertainment, being in the entertainment industry, but you decided to stay home and work with inner city youth. Why did you decide to work with inner city youth as opposed to being in the entertainment industry? Because a lot of us were like, "Oh man, I'm bouncing, man. Yo, I could see Denzel Washington, I could see Romeo and all those guys, and Morris Chestnut. You might be an actor. You could be like I said, Hollywood, but you decided to stay home and work with the youth."
And for me, it was easy because, someone gave me an opportunity when I was little. We had the Stormy Classic. That was an outlet for me.
Right.
Judge Farnan gave me the outlet to play basketball. So, and one of the things he said to me was, if I help you, don't forget to help someone else out once you make it. And I always remember that. And my mom should tell me too, if you ever get out of here, don't forget where you come from. And so I always instill that stuff and keep that in close to me because I want to get back to where I first started at, man. You know what I'm saying? So for me, yeah, like you said, I could be, I grew up in Virginia. I went to school in Virginia,
Right.
and I love Norfolk, Virginia, right? That was like, my second home, man. And I could have made that my first home. But once I got done playing basketball, I was like, man, you know what? I'm going to go back and start something back in Delaware because I know at that time we were having a rough time. We just had the barbershop shooting, and so it was like a little kid was shot, so it was just like, what can we do to what can I do to help my community? What can I do to bridge the gap between the community, especially parents and not connecting with their kids. So, for me, it was a no-brainer to come back, man, because this is my heart. No matter what anybody say, I'm always going to be a Wilmingtonian. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Right.
here, and I might not hang on the corner anymore and do all that stuff, but I'm still in the trenches. So it was easy for me to make that decision to stay here, man. I mean, do I regret the decision I made? Absolutely not, man. I mean,
Okay.
I turned down a lot of things, man, but I turned down some coaching jobs in the last 8 years, man, coaching, but I decided to stay here because this is my passion, man. I'm passionate about it, and people who know me, know the work that I do, they know that I'm passionate. They know it ain't about money. It's about these kids I'm saving, man. So for me, and I'm going to be honest, man, several years ago in 2016, man, I was going to pack up and leave because I was done with the whole thing because I go back to the day my nephew was killed. My nephew came home from college and came home just to go to a visual, just to support someone else. And he got killed, mistaken identity. And, you know, for me, I'm always the one that's helping everyone else out, you know, consoling everybody, you know, tell them, you know, it's going to be okay. And now for me to be sitting in that front row and my nephew got killed because he was an innocent bystander,
Right.
you know, and a mistaken identity, that hurt, man. Like, I couldn't get over that. Like, I didn't go in my office for 3 months, man. When I say I shut everything down, I shut it down, man. I was ready to pack up and just like, I'm done with it, man. Cause I'm like, man, all the work that I do and help people, man, is like, and someone turn around and shoot this guy who doesn't have a record, don't mess with anybody, man. The cops, you know, were saying, "Wow, we couldn't even find that on this kid." I'm like, of course, you know what I'm saying? He's a decent kid. I mean, you know, he had challenges with school and, you know, and a little disrespect sometimes to his mom, but, you know, we tightened him up. But, you know, he was the sweetest kid you can think of, man. Soft, you know, little soft teddy. He was big, but soft teddy bear, man. And to this day, no one spoke up and told the police or told us that, you know, who did it, man. And it's crazy, man. So that's the thing that hurt, man. And then I had a conversation with my mentor, man, Ty Jones, man, and he really shed light on some things, man, and pushed me back in this direction, man. When I was ready to give up, man, and walk away, he just told me, you know, how many kids would you affect if you walk away and shut your doors? And I thought about that, man, because if somebody would have closed shop on me and shut the door on me, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at right now, man. So, and I'm kids that I work with, man, they used to people walking in and out of their life, man, and I'll be just like their dads or be like their moms walk out of their life, and I can't do that, man. I wouldn't be able to look myself in the mirror, man.
Right, definitely. You know, you touch on a very serious point about the shootings, man. Here in the city of Wilmington, man, it's like almost every week there's a shooting. I mean, I think a 20-year-old got killed maybe last week. I mean, it's like I can't even keep up with it because, you know, just when you hear about one shooting, maybe 2 or 3 days later, there's another shooting. So, you know, all of us, we grew up in the inner city of Wilmington. I'm going to lead a question to anyone who wants to start off. Why do we as Black men, what is it about us that we decide we want to kill one another? We got beef one another and we want to shoot one another, and then there's retaliation. There's gangs. So what is it about Black men that we can't love each other? When I say we, I'm not talking about every single one of us, but I'm just saying, but in terms of those brothers who are doing self-harm to one another, I mean, what's the solution? What's the issue? I mean, who wants to tackle that? I know it's a big question, but it has to be addressed.
You know, part of it, man, is bravado, man. You know what I mean? It's you know, you can't nowadays, man. You can't let nobody walk past you, scuff your sneaks up. You know what I mean? And I don't want to trivialize anything or make it, you know, Omar, you and I grew up in a time where I remember walking from Riverside to the West Side and back at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and no issues, man. And that's not to say that we didn't have problems, because when you and I grew up, we had remember the Yayo Boys, and they killed one of Twin B, one of the brothers from Twin B, the rapper back then, man. I always think, man, and not living in Delaware, not having lived in Delaware for a while, of course I look back at my hometown, man, with a hurt heart. You know what I mean? When I see, the violence that happens, man, and I always liking it, or not liking it, but I always kind of think it's a kind of a disconnect of education and opportunity. You know what I mean? When I did come back from 2014 to 2015, man, I was substitute teaching because, like I said, I wanted to be a teacher, and I used to substitute at one of the inner city schools, man, and it used to hurt my heart, man, when those kids was off the chain. You know what I mean? Those kids was off the chain in there, man, and I used to always think to myself, because when I would sub in the inner city, in comparison to when I subbed, say, out in the suburbs, it was night and day. You know what I mean? Those kids came, ready. They wasn't always the brightest, but they came ready. And I hated to see our kids, kids that look like me, who kind of took it as a joke. And sadly, man, I think sometimes young brothers and sisters, man, don't see it. They don't take it seriously until they're out there in the real world, and they can't get a job, and they can't, you know what I mean? And I don't. It's a disconnect right there, man. some of y'all can help me. I'm lost for words. You know what I mean? At this point, man.
Yeah. And it's just not in Wilmington, it's in Philadelphia, it's in Chicago, it's everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Every major metropolitan area.
Yeah, every major metropolitan area, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've had the opportunity to live in Michigan, Chicago, West PA, obviously Philly, New Jersey. And I think, you know, the stats haven't changed but so much. And the stats for us is that 50% of all ninth graders don't make it to 12th grade. And then only 50% of them graduate. So you see where in our school system in inner city, we talk about education, we talk about resources, we talk about opportunity. And I think with our youth, and not much different than us, with someone special in our life that pulled us one way or the other. I think any of us, one bad day, we could have just been in a bad situation and made other bad decisions to keep us protected in that bad situation. I think given the opportunity and given the resources and given the support, you'll see the killings and the violence stop. And again, statistically, every group hurts themselves. So in the Latino community, they're killing each other. It's just that we're in such small, confined quarters. It's just we don't have enough room to breathe. And the things that I think that are being valued in our communities are not long-term. And it's not a lot of older, like, you know, well, I'm the only old one here now. I'm 62, y'all just young, all right? That's it. But there's not many older men around to say, listen, do this and say, you know, this will work out this way. And with all the work that all of us do, you'll find that if you can go into a group of young men and talk about how much time you did, it carries a little more credence and a little more attention to saying, you know what, I got my MBA from here, I did this work here, I'm working on my doctoral, you know, that doesn't carry as much weight when you're talking to our group of young men and try to figure out why is that. If you pull up with something with big rims and shines, it carries a little more weight if you pull up an electric car that's saving money. So it's education, resources, and opportunities. And when everyone's doing things, if we can get that to the community, then they'll have more value, or they'll value themselves more and see a future for themselves. A lot of the young men you'll talk to, I did my internship in Sing Sing, a lot of them didn't think they were going to make it at 25. So it didn't matter what they did, you know? So, you know, going out and doing something crazy, like, I ain't gonna be old anyway, so it didn't matter to them. And they didn't have that realization. Then when you get older, and to your point, you know, jobs are hard to come by without that education. Sometimes you feel like you're a victim, like things aren't working your way and you're treating someone else better, as opposed to someone saying, no, dude, I know it's, as you said, you know what, I can start doing my college thing at 36. By the time most of us are 36, they're like, whatever I did, and that's it. Yeah. So I think that's some of it. I don't have all the answers. I think that's some of it.
Well, I mean, y'all touched on some good things. You know, I think it starts, right? It starts with us as parents, right? We got to start parenting our kids, man. And like you said, like a lot of us are older. We knew what we can get away with, what we couldn't. Nowadays, these kids, you got moms being mothers at 17, and you know, grandmoms is a grandmom at 25. So it's and then they're not educated, so they can't teach them and teach them education. When they go to school and they got homework, they can't help them with the homework. So they get frustrated, and then they see stuff that's going on in the community. And the thing about it, also going back, we can't keep blaming police officers, the governor, and all these other people. We gotta blame ourselves, and we gotta take our own community back, man. We gotta start going out there and showing the young people that we care, man. What happens is, you know, we'll go out there for a day or two, a week, and say, okay, we want to do this and that, and it's a photo op. But after that, they don't see us no more. You know, I'm not saying everybody, they don't see us no more. And you got to be there when these kids need you, like 10 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock in the morning. We got to be there to help them. And then the other thing, man, is that also when we was raised, right, we was never taught the fundamentals of anything, right? White folks are, you know, Caucasians are taught the stock market, all that stuff. They inherit property and money, all that stuff. We inherit debt because our parents put stuff in our names at a young age. You know what I'm saying? So they don't tell us how to get out of debt. They just tell us how to make debt. So that's another thing. We're not being educated all the way around, man. So it's a lot of things. Then our school system is failing us because, you know, you get teachers who want to come in that they might go to a university, but then they do their internship over here at a Catholic school, but then they get a job at an inner city school and they can't relate and they don't understand. And so what happens is, you know, Duffy comes in, he's upset, but you don't know why he's upset. Duffy might just be hungry because he had no breakfast. And then the main thing is you're sending these kids out. You're not teaching them, and the schools are suspending them. After September 30th, they start suspending them because they got that count for their money. So, I mean, by me having programs in different schools, I see a lot of these kids getting falling through the cracks. Like, I can tell you, a lot of kids got promoted. A lot of kids graduated last year that shouldn't have graduated or got promoted because of the pandemic. Because they didn't have that. Because some of these kids they didn't graduate and they put them out in the real world. They don't have anything. We're not teaching them no trade. If they college is not for everybody. But let's teach them something else they can have to help them out, like a trade or something. And schools not doing that no more. Schools barely have home ec and sexual education classes anymore. They don't even do that stuff, man. So as a school system, it's failing. And until we as people start coming together and start saying, hey, enough is enough. We want to take back our communities. We want to help one another. It's not going to change. We're going to keep having these shootings.
Right. Sharif, want to add anything?
Yeah, real simple and real quick. Hold on, I'm gonna let them pass.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No problem.
So, one of the things that I observed over the past years, as to why, like, we kill each other so easily, some of us, right, is just because of ego. When you strip a person of everything and they have no value, and you have a man and all he has is his manhood, and then that manhood is insulted, challenged, you know what I mean? Or you view another Black man as competition, you know what I mean? It's easy for some, I'm not speaking for all, but it's easy to see him as the enemy. And to be completely honest, I was looking at this gentleman, I forgot his name, but he played in Training Day. And he said, that he stopped using the word nigga because it sounds good to say, let's go over there and kill all of those niggas. That flows easy if it feels right. But if you say, let's go over there and kill all those Black men, that don't flow right. You know what I mean? So then I was listening to Anthony T. Browder, and he was saying that one of the first things that people do in war is rename their enemy so that when they commit monstrosities against them, it's easier. So if you look at war, they always rename the enemy. Vietnamese are called gooks, or people in the Mideast are called sand niggas or hajis or jockeys or whatever, because it's easy to go over there and kill a whole bunch of people that you disconnect or don't identify as being human. So I think like that male ego, and then the fact that sometimes we don't even view each other as brothers or even as men, it makes it easier to assault each other.
Right.
And Omar, if I can ask something real quick too. Keep in mind too, kind of to pick up too where Duffy was talking about as well. Back in the day, man, stuff was in our communities. You know what I mean? I remember I had to go to the doctor as a teenager, and he was literally I can't remember all the streets around Wilmington no more, Omar, but it's down there by Stubbs. You know what I mean? So literally, yeah. So he was down that way. So I didn't have to go to HMO down in Christiana or something like that. You know what I mean? I went right in town. So we had stuff in our community, man. I mean, my grandmother used to own Pine Street Market. You know what I mean? And once they sold it, that's when they started having all those issues. You know what I'm saying? So identity is, when we own stuff, we identify with it. You know what I mean? Identity is tied up also in our community. I think that's what we lack as well sometimes.
And also, I think what makes a big difference, at least in the city of Wilmington, because I lived here all my life, is that when you went to Kingswood, you had Mr. Ernie. When you went to Brown Boys Club, you had Mr. Richard, Mr. Stanley, Mr. Wayne. So having Black men like that address Black boys made a very, very very, very, very big difference.
Yeah.
So I think having that male figure can really help. Now going through school 1 through 12, I probably can count on one hand how many African American male teachers that I have. Have any of you gentlemen, have you had during your 12 years in school, did you ever have a male African American teacher?
Wes, you did?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't go to school in inner city. I went to school in
Mm.
Northeast.
Okay, gotcha.
So you got to figure if they're going to come and teach, that's the high property taxes, the whole 9 yards. So it'd be like Apple here, that's the kind of school district it was there.
Mhm.
So 3 hours outside my neighborhood, yeah.
Got you. I remember, I think when I went to, I think it was George Reed. I think Mr. Cheatwood was one of he wasn't my teacher, but he was one of the teachers that they had.
Right.
Then when I went to Del Castle 9th grade, my band director, Mr. Delaney, was African American, and our assistant principal was Black. But like direct teachers, I don't think I had one. Like the whole 12 years of schooling.
Wow.
Well, besides my band director. You know what I mean?
Okay. And this, all you gentlemen have mentioned at the top of the program that you are fathers. That's very significant, because the children need their fathers in their lives. I want to ask each and every one of you, start with Wes, then Naybu, then Duff. What is the joy for you personally of being a father? I mean, just having kids and get to be their role model, show them the ropes. I mean, just what is the satisfaction of being a father in your own words? Let's start with Wes.
I think the way I reflect on it, folks always say, what would you tell your young self? So if you were 16, 17, if you can go back and tell your young self, it gives you the opportunity to tell them that, to support them, to give them an opportunity just simply to wow you. And you just, things I couldn't imagine as a kid growing up going to Harvard Law School, but my daughter's in Harvard Law School.
Right.
So, I mean, things like that, it just wows you. And I said my two, I had three, I think, Omar, in 2019, my oldest got murdered in Illinois at 26.
Sorry to hear that.
So, and as Brother Duff was talking about, you do a lot of work and you're thinking, wow, how did this happen? And, all kids had their difficulties, but if you don't do that work, how many more young men or young women or older men or older women are going to be victimized because folks don't know? So the greatest joy to me with the children is just watching them grow and expand and pushing that envelope and don't recognize there's a ceiling. You give them this sense of worth that they can do anything. You don't gas them up, so you can do anything that you put your effort and mind to, and they'll wow you when they go about doing it.
Yeah, I say the same thing, man. For me, it's always been trying to show them experiences that I didn't have. You know what I mean? I remember my oldest, man, when I first brought him down to Atlanta, and I was like, man, I just want, we went one day, the first time we went down to the King Memorial, right down to the King Center, and I remember we walked past Dr. King's sister, Christine Ferris.
Yeah.
And I didn't say nothing to her, but when we got past her, I stopped and I turned around to him. I said, listen, I said, you see that lady we just walked past? And he said, yeah. I said, that was Dr. King's sister. You know what I mean? And so for him to see stuff like that, and when I did go to college, when I would have spring break, we would just hang out. I'd be like, hey man, let's go to LA. You know what I mean? And we would just go out and hang out in LA just for the whole week. Went on a couple TV shows. I just wanted him to experience, the oldest anyway, wanted him to experience stuff that I had not experienced. And although my dad was always in my life, he was a constant in my life. I just wanted to be able to show to him things that my dad, for the way he was raised, those kind of older cats, man, they kind of in a different zone sometimes. You know what I mean? And my dad be like, hey man, listen, I'm giving you food, you know what I mean, clothing, you got a roof over your head, listen, we good, you know what I mean? But I wanted to show him, just something different, man, so he can see it and show it now. I told him with my granddaughter who's 12, man, I told him, man, God willing, if this election go the way I hope it goes, I want to take her to the inauguration come January, because I want her to see a Black female a Black female being inaugurated as vice president of the United States. You know what I mean? So I want her to experience that as well.
Right. I remember when Barack went in 2008, my supervisor, she went down there, Washington, D.C. to see him, and that was a beautiful thing. I mean, she said she was there for hours. Duff, as a father, what is the joy of being a father to you? What are some of the things that you enjoy most about being a father?
Man, I enjoy it most is just being able to come home to my kids, man, when they were little, show them show them things wasn't shown to me, take them away on trips, man, and just teaching them life lessons, man. That's the joy of being a father for me. And then also, just I got two girls, so it's just like I enjoy being around them. I was never lucky enough to be the one to hit a home run with a boy.
Okay.
There's no basketball player, so I got my youngest is a track star. She ran cross country and little track in high school. My oldest, she was in drill and she was a cheerleader. But for me, man, it was just showing them the ropes and teaching them not to get nobody like their dad. His dad was terrible growing up, but this teaching for me, like showing them like how a guy's supposed to treat you. This is how they should act. Never be in a car with a guy and you're driving and he's on the passenger side. You get out to get gas and he makes you, and you pumping the gas and he's sitting there. You leave it. I always say, leave his butt right there. Don't ever let that pisses me off when I see that at a gas station. The young lady pumping the gas and the guy sitting on the side, lean back. So yeah, for me, man, it was just my daughters, man, and just being a father, man, just everything that come with it, man. Because I mean, for my oldest daughter, I missed the first 6 years of her life because I was in, college. I had her when I was in college. Then I went overseas to play ball, and she didn't have an opportunity to come see me over there. So I missed like her first steps, her first words, things like that. So when my youngest daughter, I seen all that, so I was real happy. People was like, "Man, what's wrong with this guy?" I was just happy, because we all wanted that American dream, a family, marriage, and a big house, all that stuff. But unfortunately, it doesn't work that way sometimes, So you take what you get, and then you be happy with it. So I'm happy with having my two daughters, and and hopefully, I'm almost 50. I hope I can get a boy sooner than later.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And then Omar, bring me back on and ask me that same question.
Okay, got you. Okay, got you. No, speaking of sons, Naybu and Wes, you both have sons. Have any one of you ever had that talk with your son? When I say that talk, I mean, what does he do if he gets stopped by the police?
I think you won't find many Black fathers who don't have that talk with their sons and daughters. I've had to talk to my sons and daughters.
Oh, okay, got you.
Because you don't want them to, again, obviously second generation college educated, so they come from a different perspective. But you want them to understand the police doesn't see that. All right, the police does not see your level of education. You grow up in Naperville, Middletown, Ada, wherever, they don't see that. They see an African-American in their car, and however you respond, the way they interpret your response could be as innocent as, "Why you stop me, officer?" And they're thinking you're being confrontational. So you have this talk with them. You tell them to talk slow. You tell them make sure officer can see your hands. Tell them don't make any sudden moves. And as they look at you with that quizzical look in their face, you have to explain this is something that's going to keep them alive.
That's probably one of the hardest conversations you ever had, man. I honestly, it's funny. I was talking to my oldest son about a month ago, and I said to him, I said, I don't think I ever had that conversation with you. He's like, "Oh no, you did." He's like, you did. So I'm so glad that I did, man. It's when you see the things that are going on out here, and it's hard, man, as a Black man, not to be angry, not to walk around just angry, just mad at the world. I remember when I was 19, man, I was stationed at Grand Forks in North Dakota. And I remember we went to see Do the Right Thing at the Base Theater. You know what I'm saying? And so here we are, North Dakota. only black folks in North Dakota, besides a few people that retired there, is everybody on the base. And I remember, man, you know, especially at the end, if you remember the end, Radio Raheem gets killed by
Right,
police
get choked
officers.
out,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Gets choked out. You know what I mean? So, man, we walked around that base, man. We was just, you know, we had that, you know, I wish I would, you know what I mean? And you know, and you learn as you get older, man, you can't walk around like that all the time because, you know, like Brother West said, you know, a lot of them, a lot of officers, unfortunately, man, they come in ready. They locked and loaded, you know, excuse me, you know, no pun intended, but you know, they just ready to go. And they just waiting for one thing. You say one thing wrong and it's on. You know what I mean? And you can't win a battle like that. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, what we've seen time and time again, I mean, you see video after video after video of Caucasian brothers and sisters, man, who you know, I see one video, dude chasing a cop naked. You know, I see another video of a dude getting out the car, literally running after, chasing another cop. You know what I mean? And you see us, you know, you see a brother walking away from a cop trying to get in the car with his kids, he gets shot in the back 7 times.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, so it's imperative, man, to have those conversations, man, and literally it could save somebody's life. And that's sad to say.
Go ahead, Duff.
And Omar, right? You know, like you said, I you know, I had 2 daughters, so I talked to them as well. You know, with safety, I talked to them about that, but also for my basketball league, you know, I talked to the men, you know, the boys in my basketball league. We had one of the cops come in and even give a presentation on him. You know, he played in the league. He was a brother. He's from the hood, but he's a police officer. You know, he did that like a year ago. He came in and did a seminar on it. I mean, I thought it was helpful, man, because, you know, like you said, we got to have these conversations, man. What you do, put your hands up, you know, don't reach, you know, say yes, sir. No, not the yes, sir, no, sir, but like just say certain things. Don't, you know, if you're in a dark area, try to pull to a lighted area so people can see, you know, things like that. So it was, I mean, it was definitely worth them coming in and explaining and talking to the young people, man. So, I mean, that talk, you know, is definitely needed. It's not a one-time thing. I think you keep talking over and over with them because, as you see, it's not stopping, man. It's getting worse.
Right.
And it's getting filmed.
Yeah.
Right. And so this leads me to.
I mean,
go ahead, Duff. Go ahead.
I mean, it goes back to me, right? I mean, like about 4 years ago, I was, you know, Omar, you know, I go out, I put my posters up and all that stuff, ride around, put my signs up, and you know, my thing's a charity event. I'm on Market Street, what's that, 40th and Market, and I'm over there, and I'm across the city line first of all, and I'm over there. Well, what's that called? The Post House over there, but it was called. It wasn't Jerry Dean's. It was the Post House. It was the Post House, and I put up a poster. Then I came across to the AutoZone, and then went down by the little film, but what's that? The little film place down there across from Steak and Eggs. So a cop came up and said, "Hey, you know, white cop said, hey, you're not allowed to do that." So why can't I do it? He said, "Man, it's against the law. You can't put things on the post." I said, "Okay." He said, "I see you put them all, and I watched you, so I want you to take them all down." I said, "Take them all down for what?" And then he was just like, "No, just take them down." I said, "Man." So I just took the one down I put up, and I just like rode down the street. By the time I got to 30th and Market, he didn't call for backup. They pulled me over on 30th, right by Ratchets. And like they treated me, I mean, they treated me like, you know, I was like the guys in the cars, like, man, he had a contract with the city. He worked with the cops and all that. Y'all gonna treat him like he's a criminal. And I was just like, they kept telling him, shut up. You know, I'm like, we ain't shutting up. So by that time, I was trying to call Brother Fahim, and he didn't answer. You know, it's and he said, so it was around 11:45, almost 12 o'clock. So he said, well, who's out here putting up anything this time of night? I'm like, listen, you can't tell me when I can put stuff up. So then, a long story short, I said, you know what? I'm going to just report y'all, man. So the cop said, oh, you want to be, so our brother came out of nowhere and said, look, you want to be smart, get out the car, right? I said, get out the car for what, man? I said, look, man, I don't want no problems. I ain't got no. So he said, all right, I'm gonna let you go this time. So I get out my car, right? They over there in Rash's parking lot.
Right.
And I'm like on the street. So I get out my car. It's like, and so I take the staple guns from my boys so we don't put no more up. So I lift my trunk up. I had a Tahoe. I lift the Tahoe up. The black cop says, oh, what you gonna do? And then the white guy said, oh, he must great shoot us.
Wow. You gotta be
So
kidding.
I said, you know what? Let me get everybody's name, man, because I don't appreciate that. It's
Yeah.
like, look, son, you better keep. I said, I'm not your son. They said, you better walk away while you can. I said, no, I'm not walking away. I want everybody's name and badge number because I'm gonna report y'all. Because that right there is offensive to me. Why are you gonna say we're not gonna shoot y'all? Then what if this other cop right here would have pulled the trigger thinking I got a gun?
Right, right.
So long story short, on this end, like they end up like trying to arrest me, and I walked away. So he gave me a summons to go to court. So I had to go to court, and I fought it. But the chief of police at the time was Bobby Cummins. I called him the next day at his house.
You should have called him that night, Duff. You should have called him that while you were with them, man. Yo, Bob. Yo.
I didn't have his number with me. That's why I called Brother Fahim.
Right.
And then so I didn't have his number. So the next day I called him, and then he called me back. He said, well, he was going to take care of it. But the black cop kept pushing the issue like, nah, I'm not going to do anything. He kept saying he's not taking it back. So we went to court. And I'm thinking he's not going to show up. He showed up, man. I ain't had no lawyer, nothing. I was unprepared. I told the judge, can I get a continuance? He was like, no, we're going to keep it going. So basically, they gave me a fine like $1,500. And like, I'm like, all the work I do in the community, I'm like, it's not no party flyer. This is for this charity. Right, and then at the end of the day, he laughed, and he brought the white cop and everything. And they tried to say they didn't make that statement.
Wow.
But I mean, just imagine.
Rough,
I mean, I'm a person in the community that they see. I hired these cops. I hired these cops to do my events. So at that.
Right.
You lost his audio?
Yeah, I just get regular security. Or at one point, I was going to hire state boys to come in town and do my event.
Right.
I know I was a little off, man. I just had to get that out there.
Okay, well, that's good. Yeah, because I'm so surprised. Everybody knows Duffy, especially in the city of Wilmington. I mean, that was rather surprising. At least the brother should know who he was at the very least. But yeah, that was pretty rough. And so that leads me to my next point. With all these incidents like Duffy experience and all the shootings and killings of Black men, the Black Lives Matter movement. There's been local protests, national protests, and worldwide protests. So I want to start off with Wes, Naybu, and Duff. What are your thoughts on the Black Lives Matter movement?
I think if you look at what they're saying, and they're just saying something that everybody's pretty much exclaiming on this whole call. Black Lives Matter. That's not discounting any other life. That's not saying anything bad about anything else. But it seems that on almost every event that we talk about, we're being devalued. And the message is just saying it matters. It's a life. Don't call us anything other than what we are. We ain't niggers. We ain't this. We ain't homeboys with that dude over there. If you attach a certain humanity to a person and you say Black Lives Matter, that's what you're saying. You don't have to say White Lives Matter, because they do. Everyone recognizes that. It's known. All right. The fact that we have to say Black Lives Matter tells you it's an alarming situation.
Right.
It's not just a message to the folks who we think are shooting us and killing us in the street. It's a message to our own folks. Our lives matter, man. Right. And if you value something, you're going to protect it.
Right.
Hey, Boo?
I go back again, man, to another video, man. I remember seeing, man, it was another white dude chasing a cop. He had a knife. And the white dude kept saying, I want you to kill me. I want you to kill me. And the cops kept saying to him, I'm not going to shoot you today. I'm not going to shoot you. I'm not going to shoot you. And it's sad that here we are. And I think the Black Lives Matter movement started after Trayvon Martin was killed. It's a shame that here we are in 2020, and we still have to remind people that we do in fact matter, right? What people don't understand is when it comes to particularly in police violence against Black men, that's not something that just started in 2016, 2015, 2013. That's been going on for generations.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's been going on since the 1800s, since literally since police forces were started. You know what I mean? So Black Lives Matter is very important. I've had people, I've had debates with, man, even educated people, man, Black people, educated Black people who are like, man, look at their platform and go to their website, man. Listen, I don't even want to do all that. Let me tell you why. Because at the end of the day, what is the message? It's like Brother West was saying, and it's a shame. It's also been tainted by people who like to come behind Black Lives Matter protests and start causing damage, right? Which totally negates even the purpose of the march. You know what I mean? We will keep saying, people need to keep saying Black Lives Matter until everybody understands that Black lives do in fact matter. I had a white friend that I went to high school with back in 2016. He was mad at me because of stuff I was posting on Facebook about this current president.
Right.
Because I think at the time the dude who's in the White House now made the statement that Black Lives Matter is a terrorist organization or something like that, something to that effect, right? And so I put my little 2 cents, and this dude had the nerve to say to me, he said something to the effect of, the only people that Black lives don't matter to is Black people. And I'm like, first of all, brother, you don't even know nobody that live in Wilmington. What you talking about? You know what I mean? You don't know. It's people. I tell people all the time, it's Black people in the community that march. Not only, don't only protest Black Lives Matter to police officers, but also even to our community. Like we were talking about earlier, brothers not handling the situation right with each other. You know what I mean? Right. So I just keep saying, man, until Black Lives Matter to the mainstream community, we're gonna keep saying it.
Duff?
Yeah, I mean, when are they gonna get it that our lives do matter, man? And it's a shame they don't. And like our current presidents make them crazy statements, and then get these other people making these statements about everybody's lives matter. Okay, but our lives matter too, but y'all don't take it serious, man. So I support, the movement, but like I don't support the looting and all that stuff, but I support what it stands for and for justice, man. Make start holding people accountable. So I mean, I can go on for days, man, but I ain't gonna get into it, man. That's a almost a year long conversation, man.
Definitely. Duff and Naybu, you're both in some form or fashion dealt with the entertainment industry, as we talked about earlier. Naybu, you're a singer. We look at the history of African Americans in the entertainment field. Who are some of the African American entertainers that you come to admire? And I want to ask you, Duff, I want to ask you the same thing, because I'm an actor, playwright, talk show host, so the entertainment thing is my thing as well. And there's a lot of people who came before us, like Lena Horne, Red Fox, and then you got people like my favorite actors, Denzel Washington. Maybe you remind me of Luther Vandross, man. You probably heard it 100 times. And then Duff, you were just celebrities, man. You got so many beautiful women and strong men that came participate in your basketball league, your basketball celebrity game, and your baseball, softball celebrity game. So Naybu, this in terms of the entertainment industry, who are some of the people that you come to admire?
And I'll tell you, I mean, you mentioned Luther, man. It's funny, right before I got on this call, Luther, one of Luther's background singers, I follow her on Instagram, Lisa Fisher. You remember her? How can I ease the pain?
Okay.
So I commented because I didn't realize that Dionne Warwick had recorded So Amazing before Luther Vandross did. He wrote it for her.
Oh, okay.
And I found that out today, and so I commented that that I didn't know that, and Lisa actually commented on, replied to my post, and I was starting to sweat. I was like, man, Lisa Fisher didn't reply. Hold up, man. So I was a little excited. So to sum it up, man, Luther, of course, because he's actually how I learned to sing. I would literally put his records on and just sing along with him, learn every lick, you know what I mean? So Luther, of course, Michael Jackson, my grandmother used to always tell me about this gentleman named Billy Eckstein, you know, and so I had to go back and check him out. And I'll tell you as well, he's not a singer, but one gentleman that I definitely have to give props to and major love to, man, is our homeboy Clifford Brown.
Oh yeah.
Man, that dude was a genius. You know what I mean? So those are just to name a few, man. I could probably, if I sat here a little longer, I could probably give you a longer list, man. But
Right.
yeah, I'll leave it right there with those three, man.
That's right, neighbor. That's right. You played the saxophone with my uncle. Yeah, I
Yes.
forgot you played the saxophone. I forgot about that.
Your uncle is the reason I even started listening to music, because he would play for
Okay.
hours.
Okay.
Yeah, people don't know that, man. Your uncle would play for hours, and I remember when I first stopped Gerald, and I said, Gerald, what's that you playing, the trumpet? And he kind of laughed at me. Nah, Naybu, it's a saxophone, man. And when I went to school to want to get into the band, I was looking all around for instruments, man, looking at the trumpet, looking at the sousaphone, and then I settled on the sax, man. And Gerald kind of gave me some tips. So when I first got my saxophone and went into practice, I already knew some things, man. So and that's thanks to your uncle, man.
Oh yeah, definitely. Okay, Duff,
Yeah.
man, you know so many celebrities, Duff. I know it's a hard question for you.
Now, like I'm a big fan of Michael Jackson, the King of Pop, man. That's
Oh,
one of my favorites, man.
Oh, he's a legend, man.
Yeah.
And and yeah. And I tell you who I looked up, who I admired, man, was always, man, Muhammad Ali, man, because
Right.
he was always, striving to be the greatest, man. He talked a lot, but he backed it up too, man. And he wanted to fight the biggest, the baddest, everybody, man. So Muhammad Ali, man, and basketball, man, and Julius Dr. J, man. I gotta give you Doc, man. That was my man, Doc, the doctor, man. So them of mine right there, man. I mean, list can go on and on, but I'm gonna leave it at that.
Okay. Well, Wes, I don't want to leave you out, man. So, you have any favorite entertainers, athletes?
favorite actors, favorite musicians. I would say, as far as Muhammad Ali is probably my favorite athlete of all times, and then probably followed with Paul Robeson, who was multifaceted. Had the opportunity to work with LaRue Martin as far as basketball is concerned for a number of years before I retired from UPS. He and I are pretty close. Actors, Sidney Poitier, Harry Belafonte, I think they were literally trailblazers in what they do. Contemporary, my cousin David Talbert, contemporary, my frat brother Andrew Brown. He's doing a lot as far as the industry, as far as that's concerned. And then as far as musicians, I'll go with one of the homeboys living near you, Wardell Potts. I grew up with him. He's out there in San Antonio. Ruben Edwards. They're both jazz musicians, and my brother-in-law Gerald Beasley, who's a well-known jazz musician. So, So I have a lot. I have no talent as far as that's concerned, so I admire all these folks. Sing, dance, or act, or play basketball. So I admire all these folks.
And then if you look at Duffy's career, Duffy was a Harlem Globetrotter. What are you, Duff?
Get out.
Yeah. That's how good he was, man.
Yeah,
That's dope.
Yeah, that is awesome. Wesley, when I first met you several years ago, you were working in the industry where you help people get jobs. Are you still doing that? Because
I'm still currently I'm a chief administrator, Department of Health and Social Services, Division of Social Services for Delaware. So,
okay,
one of the groups I'm talking about, and that's why I'm surprised I haven't bumped into Duff yet, or even Sharif, is the CPSU. I mean, because we're working with Corey Priest, we're doing work with Daryl, we fund CIT. Did work with Ian, obviously with GV, Alba Bobby Cummings, and all those folks with the Gang Violence Initiative. Literally, and especially young African American male and females, if they're 17 and under, and their families are TANF, which is just receiving our services, and just have minor children, I literally can subsidize that teen's wages for a full year.
right.
Meaning that you read the Water Eyes, Annie Ams, or any of these other programs, if you hire a teen, I'm paying their salary up to $13 an hour for a full year. And that doesn't adversely impact someone's services they receive. If you're receiving a service, someone gets a job, your service gets shut down. If they're a minor, it doesn't impact their services at all. That's one of the things we do. We still currently, we transport maybe 75 folks every day to UPS in Philadelphia. We do that. We send folks to the CDL program. I fund that. Doing work with the warehouse. I'm doing work with dual schools with Helen Anderson. And then just have an opportunity to do that. Then I'm also chief in charge of Stand By Me for the state of Delaware, which is a financial empowerment thing. So you're talking about in the state of Delaware, and it's one of the reasons why I'm so happy to retire here. You do not have to be homeless, hungry, or unemployed in Delaware, because there's resources out there to get you a job. There's resources out there to help you get sustainable housing and keep it. And there's resources out there to help you manage your finances. And then, you have folks in every different facet here that we partner up with, with the school district, with all the other different divisions. You literally can make an impact in Delaware. I wish I could do it in Philly. Philly's just so big. We can do it here in Delaware, in Wilmington in particular.
One of the barriers to employment is people with criminal background history. They fill out an application, they see that question, and already that's a deterrent. And then a lot of applications now, they're online. They're not paper applications. So does your program assist people with completing the application, and then does it help people with maybe who had a criminal past, maybe mistakes in their life, find employment?
Let me say this without them, the brothers ain't on the call, but you'll know the names. Orlando Foreman worked for me for a couple of years. John Anthony Ward is working for me now. So if you remember John was 19, got natural life, didn't get out till he was 61.
Wow. Orlando. Yeah, Orlando.
Orlando was working for me not too long ago. Ty Mathis worked for me. I don't want to throw these brothers' name out there like that. But yes, we're working with Dan Logan and with the federal court reentry. They're getting jobs. We're working with Remand Project, working with Bobby Cummins and those folks, John Cook. So having a record is a barrier, but it's not the end of the day. And we have what we consider returning citizens friendly employers, and we go through with the same deal. Listen, we refer them and they hire them. They go through the whole process, whatever they have to do. We're still subsidizing their pay up to $13 an hour. And if a company hires 5 or more, like I said, with UPS, we're taking 65, 70 of them to work every night on our dime. We're in a bus, we advance, we take them there, we bring them back. So there's opportunity out there. I mean, there's real opportunity. And I think I mentioned to you before, Omar, this could be done in any city in the United States of America. The fact that you had, prior to the current Secretary Molly, you had Kara Walker in there. She was tremendous. The governor supports it. You got Ray Fitzgerald, the director, division director of DSS. He's tremendous in the community. So working with these different folks in the community and providing resources and support and not asking for money, you're able to uplift and support a lot of different inner city communities and partners. So we're doing that. Can't be a long story short, but we're doing that.
Okay, so tonight is a presidential debate. Mr. Donald Trump and Mr. Joe Biden, they're going to be going head to head. For you gentlemen, is there any particular issue, one or two issues that you would like to have addressed in terms of what's going on in our communities? Who wants to go first, Doug?
Nah, I just want to see. I just want to see what. I just want to see this debate to see how our current president hold up right now. Because I mean, I see what Joe has done in the past as a state senator and as a VP. How much support he brought to Delaware. And right. I'm looking forward to him doing some more bigger things for us. But in the whole world, the whole nation as a whole. His platform, a lot of celebrities been getting on him. Like, I know Ice Cube got on him. Like, he wanted to hear, what are you going to do for the black folks? You know what I'm saying? What is he going to do? So, and a couple other people. So, I know he had a meeting with like T.I. and some other folks, and I don't know the outcome of that. Maybe somebody can tell me how it was, but I'm big on what is he going to do for us as well too. So, and I mean, like, Joe's going to surround himself around some good people. He has some good people in his corner and his campaign. So I think, I want to just hear what happens tonight. So,
hey, Naybu?
I think I'll jump on the topic that Brother Wes was kind of talking about a few minutes ago, man, criminal justice reform. Let's see who really has a plan for that. I mean, it's cool when you have a couple of celebrities coming to your office and take photo ops and get some people exonerated and pardoned and all that kind of stuff. But what are you doing for the overall practice. Because if you're like me, I have family members who are currently incarcerated. I have family members who have been incarcerated, and they've lived with that stigma all of their lives, or after they paid their debt to society. When is enough enough? You know what I mean? And we need somebody in office who are going to tackle some of those issues, man. So I don't think that's a topic of the debate tonight, but ultimately that's what I want to see, come out, because everybody can talk a good game,
Right.
but
Right.
do you have a plan?
All right, Wes.
Again, I would like to see, again, I'll go more towards the former vice president, see what he's going to present. I already know what the gentleman who occupies the White House is doing and not doing. I understand where his ideology is. I would like to see former President Joe Biden get up there and talk about things that are systemic in our community, how he's going to impact the communities where we live in food deserts, how he's going to impact communities where our schools are 100 years old, our houses are 60 and 70 years old, where higher rents are charged in the inner city than they are in the suburbs, how he's going to bring affordable healthcare for those who are most vulnerable, which is our population. And I think if he's able to communicate that, what he wants to do, and again, any president could say that, but it has to go through the Senate. So the president can be as well-intended as they want, and the House can be as well-intended as they want, but the bills will die in the Senate unless you have someone who can work and negotiate and navigate through the Senate. And I'll talk about one former president. Talk about Lyndon B. Johnson. He was a Texan. He came from a pretty different background where the folks who he grew up with didn't really appreciate or have any inkling or have any desire to embrace Black Lives Matter. But he rose above his position. He understood that the position that he occupied in that White House to make an impact, he did. He probably in modern day, the most right legislation, the most rules were in place, most things were done during his time in office. However, without the Senate, none of that stuff would have happened. It just dies there. So if Joe can get the White House and you can have a Senate that's reflective of the community, I think a lot of things can happen. The focus can't be what is he going to do for the African-American community, because we're a microcosm of society. What is he going to do to uplift poverty? Folks think of poverty and all that, it's always in the Black and brown communities. It's other places, but as long as folks can attach it to us, they don't worry about it. So as long as you can make someone who's extremely poor, desolated, has nothing, and Chris Rock said it when he was in front of a group. He said, looked out at the audience, which was mostly Caucasian, he said, listen, ain't no one of you want to trade places with me, and I'm rich. And if you get the poorest person in America thinking, I don't want to be that just because of your skin tone, that's a bigger problem. And the way to impact that is to expose people. People you play basketball with, or you're in the industry with, after a while, you ain't mad at nobody, man. Once you get to know them. And we just have to have that opportunity. And the stuff that we live is not, it's not by accident, it's by design, but we have to understand it, understand the rules, and more good folks such as yourselves have to just get back in there and say, let's do something.
Okay, so we're coming to an end of the program. I want to give you gentlemen a couple of minutes to say any closing comments, whatever's on your mind. And then if you have contact information you want to give to those who are watching in regards to your respective organizations. We're going to stay with Wes. Naybu, then Duffy close us out. Okay, Wes.
All right. Here's what I would say. I'm really honored to have the opportunity to meet each and every one of you, Omar. Obviously, I met you before and hear about the different things that are going on and how you navigated through this thing we call life. I think the biggest takeaway from me is that understand that none of us are in this by ourselves. And whatever you're doing, if you were in Delaware, as Duff is and as Brother Sharif is, anything you're doing that I can help you with and support, I'm there for you. I mean, that's what I'm supposed to do, and that's what I'm doing. So public service right now is probably the biggest reward I have in my life outside of my immediate family. I appreciate you taking the time, appreciate sharing things with you. And listen, people, if they need jobs, houses, or support, man, just get a hold of us. That's what we do. We're not asking for any money. We're saying, help us spend this money, all right?
What's your number? What's your phone number? How can
all right, my phone number, oh, wow, we're on Facebook Live, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, the phone number to your business.
I'm the state of Delaware. So here's what I would say.
Yeah.
You reach me at my email address in my office. All right, here's my email address. WES Southall, that's SOUTHALL at Delaware, spell it out, .gov. My office number, and this is on you, Omar, is 302-255-9592. 302-255-9592. All right, it's CPSU. You're in the streets, you ask me about CPSU. We got a whole bunch, we're statewide, so you can find me. Now, everybody in the world has my office numbers and email.
Okay, all right,
So you helping people, so Wes, you helping people save their homes, huh?
No, we don't save their homes. What I'm telling you is that if you're a tenant for tenant of life, dude, we can find a job for you. There's subsidized housing for them. We'll hook them up with Stand By Me. I mean, with Stand By Me, you'll find a different way to save your homes. I'm telling you is that going to work. Again, last year, we put 9 brothers through a CDL program. That's $5,000 a pop. And 4 of those have been recently incarcerated, and 6 of them are working, making over $26, $27 an hour.
That's good work, man.
They get a job for us for 6 months, and then they, for a decent amount of money.
Okay, Naybu.
That's good stuff. Good stuff, brother. Hey, Omar, thank you again, man, for having me. I definitely appreciate it, man. We go way back, brother. Again, well, my name is Naybu Fullman. Again, I forgot to mention this at the beginning. I recently started my own company, entertainment business. It is called Bauer Street Entertainment. We are fledgling. We just started. I started with a couple of Luther Vandross tributes. I actually had the pleasure of booking Luther Vandross's former music director, Nat Adderley Jr. I actually brought him down to San Antonio to do a concert. So I'm trying to do more of those, of course. So you can find me on social media at either Showtime Naybu 1906. You know, I had to put that in there. Or you can find me my business, and that's Instagram, of course, and or you can find my business at Bauer Street Entertainment LLC. I know that's long, but that's at Bauer Street Entertainment LLC, and that's the name of my company. Bauer Street is the street that I grew up on in Riverside. It is the backbone of Riverside. It runs straight through Riverside, and that's the street that made me the man that I am today.
Riverside Bugger 26.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, Duffy, you up, Duff?
All right. Again, my name is Duffy Samuels, founder of Duffy's Hope. You know, a nonprofit organization that work with, I ain't gonna just say city kids, but youth ages 12 to 18. We focus on the mentoring, prevention programs. We keep everything, 100. We try to help as much as possible, and we're here to help their community. Again, thank you for allowing me to be on this on your Facebook Live. It's been a pleasure. I met some great guys, man. I already knew Brother Sharif. You know what I'm saying? We didn't even talk about this. Our moms hung out together.
Oh, okay.
And, yeah, and his mom just passed like a couple weeks ago, right? Yeah, so they just had a funeral on last Saturday. So, we, I watched them. We used to play together when our moms were playing cards and drinking, But again, man, we're here to help and support, anybody who's looking to get their kids in any programs, that needs assistance, man. We're here to, provide an outlet, resources, whatever we can, man. And again, thank you. I appreciate it. And I definitely want to connect with the brothers. So Omar, hopefully after this, you can just do a group chat or something, through email or something like that, bro, so I can connect, because we can work together.
Yeah, definitely. So Duff, how can people get in contact with you? What's the contact information?
Okay, they can reach us in the office, 302-652-3532, or they can email me at duffy@duffyshopeinc.org. Check out our website, duffyshopeinc.org, and our Instagram, Duffy's Hope.
All right, I'd like to thank you, brothers, all you gentlemen, for coming out this evening. I'd like to thank Sharif. He had to leave early. And we got to do this again, guys.
Definitely.
All right, thanks a lot.
All right.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, y'all.
Take care.